Hello and welcome to South Sligo Talks, a community-based podcast bringing you local news and stories from the heart of South Sligo in Uncree podcast studios here in Tubbercurry. I'm Richard McCarthy, and on this week we'll be talking about Sligo Rovers with CEO Colin Feehily. Thanks for joining us, Colin.
Thanks for having me.
Colin, I'm going to start with the most basic things. Let's start by telling us about yourself.
I'm obviously Colin Feehily, CEO of Sligo Rovers. I was born here in Sligo. I'm from Collery originally. My mum and dad, Marie and Oliver, brothers Mark and Barry. So I've always loved football. From my early playing days with Collery Bohemians, playing a bit of Gaelic with Collery St Joseph's. Just generally going through school, loving sport and loving football, and ultimately, I suppose, fell in love with Sligo Rovers from a very early age.
Very good. And I suppose, what would your first memories of Sligo Rovers would be?
Probably back in the early 90s, born in 1989, so obviously it was a few years after the 1983 Cup final. Was always told about them by my dad and my granddad and stuff. But those Saturday nights in the Showgrounds, going with my granddad, my father, my cousins, the old barn that used to get tea at half time or soup or whatever it was to try and keep you warm. It was freezing some of the nights back there. So those are really memories, early 1990s, coming up through and just going and enjoying it with the cousins and friends and stuff.
Fantastic. So you've been in sport for quite a long time, so which is good.
Yeah.
Sligo Rovers itself, like for those that don't know enough about it, but Sligo Rovers would have been founded back in 1928, and the club is a co-op, so it's basically owned by the people of Sligo and the surrounding areas as well, so which is quite good. And Rovers have played at the Showgrounds since its inception. But where did the name Showgrounds come from? Do you know? Or I think, was it always called Showgrounds?
Yeah, I think it was always called the Showgrounds. I remember reading some stuff back in some history books about it. There was some fairs and stuff on. Just the name is always the Showgrounds, and was kept on as the club went into it and stayed there now to this day. So
and you had a lot of success in the club. Like, you've won your third FAI Cup in 4 years. You became 2012 Premier Division champions, winning the title with two games to spare. And in total, you've won 3 league titles, 5 FAI Cups, and 2 League Cups. So a lot of success there over the years. Yeah,
there has been quite a lot of success. Obviously, it was, as I said before, the 1983 Cup final. That was just 40 years the last couple of weeks. 1977 was also a big year for the club, but it wasn't my own memories. The 1994 Cup final was probably the first memory. Lansdowne Road beating Derry City 1-0. And then, when Paul Cook's time, 2009, 2010, up to probably 2012 when he left. He left before that season. Ian Barraclough came in then and was the manager for league winning campaign. Then the year after, we won the FAI Cup in the Aviva Stadium. So they're all great memories for everybody involved with Sligo Rovers, and you can always look back on them with great fondness and hopefully days like that to come again in the near future.
Yeah, and the club itself has grown quite a lot as well. Like, I know my own daughter, she goes to kind of Saturday night matches on Saturday night and stuff like that, but it's diversified so much. So now you have, say you have the various teams. We'll say you have the first team and you have the ladies team as well. But there is a lot of other teams as well. Like, you've got the academy and so on as well.
Yeah, so we have men's senior team, women's senior team. Just since last year, we felt that was really important to bring in, because we have an under 17 women's team, an under 19 women's team, and until last year we had no senior team. So girls were coming in playing with us from probably 16 to 19. Then they've nowhere to go, and there's no senior team in Sligo. There's no senior soccer league in Sligo for women at the moment. Hopefully that's something that's going to come in the next few months, which is important as well for local teams. But we felt it was important to bring in a women's senior team, especially for those girls to have something to aspire to.
Oh, absolutely.
Have a long career in football, just like the men.
Yeah, and I do love that the fact of, I have a young daughter who plays soccer, and that's what she aspires to, is the Sligo Rovers Academy, and we've a lot of local players here in South Sligo that play with the academy, and we have Cara King and Pixie O'Hara, and there's quite a few that are, and I think Pixie's playing for Ireland now as well, and the whole lot. So there's quite a high caliber of ladies players in Sligo, say, playing with Sligo Rovers, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And South Sligo alone, Tubbercurry is a great distinction with Rovers. Obviously Rafael Cortara is probably the biggest one. Yeah, the Tubbercurry Tornado, as he was called, I think, on RT. I don't know if we gave him that nickname, but it stuck anyway in the end. But you had Rafael and all his family, brothers, his dad, his parents, all came into the games. It was great to see them every week. And then you have players now, Pixie O'Hara, Jessica Casey.
Jessica as well, yeah.
I wouldn't like to start naming them because I'm going to forget someone, and it's not good to not to name everybody. But there's so many young kids coming through our academy now. You know, even Kylie McDonough, Sean Carrigan has gone on to America. Aaron Perry, Liam Carrigan is in Italy.
Yeah.
You know, all local lads here to South Sligo, and it's something as a club. It's not just about the town, and it's really important to emphasise that. And it's not only about Sligo County either. It really is a regional club. Those neighbouring counties are important to us as well.
Absolutely. What's I suppose? Let's talk about what's next for Sligo Rovers. Tell us about the future development of the showgrounds and the strategic plan.
Yeah. So again, we've created a master plan in the last couple of years, which is where we'd love to see the showgrounds go and the redevelopment to go in the next couple of years. We were established in 1928. It's 100 years in the next 5 years. So we're 95 years this year. So by 1928, we'd love to, fingers crossed, have a stadium that is really inviting to people across the region to want to come to the stadium, not just for football matches, but for other bits and pieces too. You know, there should be stuff like meeting rooms, maybe a cafe, a shop, all those sort of things.
Very good.
So a real state-of-the-art ground to come, hopefully.
And I think I feel like I'm noticing a kind of a change in regards to football in relation to GAA in Ireland. Like GAA had such a stronghold in Ireland, whereas I see now with the kids, especially in school now, they're all kind of playing football more, and they're trying to kind of keep the balance. But it's like I take my own daughter, that she kind of compared to the GAA, like the soccer, the football. I call it soccer. And the football, there's they can see a path in regards to it. They can see kind of a future in it in regards to, like, when they get older, they can play for, clubs, at a higher level, like Slgo Rovers. They can play for Ireland, whereas the GAA, you're capped at county level. There's no kind of movement other than that. Do you see kind of football growing bigger than GAA in Ireland? Do you see it taking kind of, a more kind of bigger stance than GAA in Ireland?
I definitely wouldn't say bigger. I think the GAA is brilliant. Only you could see how the county was last week and the last few weeks. And it's great to see the young teams in Sligo really coming up now and doing really, really well on the national stage. Mm-hmm. I think there's always been that perception where it's GAA versus football. And for us nowadays, I think we're definitely past that. We should be past that. I think in this day and age, like, we're a small county, small region. We should all really be pulling together as one. And I know there's probably issues around player welfare. Can they play two sports at a really high level at the same time? I think it's important that kids to a certain age, I'm no expert, don't know what age that probably is, they should play as many sports as they want. And then I suppose as you grow older into your late teens, maybe a decision needs to be made of one or the other. But ultimately, I wouldn't say football's bigger than Gaelic or Gaelic's bigger than football. I think it's much the same, and it's two massive sports in Ireland. Yeah. But I suppose women's football in Ireland has really grown in the last number of years. They've qualified for the World Cup now, the senior team, which is great. It's something to look forward to this summer in Australia. I suppose we've brought in a senior team, a women's senior team, as well as other clubs. I think football's grown, and I think it'll only benefit other sports as well. And maybe make sure that all sports try and achieve the same sort of stuff and bring each individual sport to the highest level it can. Yeah,
and I suppose with the one thing I do notice is that the level of fitness that you need for both, it helps both sides. So it helps the football and helps the guy as well, So I suppose they do complement each other in that regards as well.
Yeah, they do. Two totally different sports. It's one is probably 90 minutes, one is 60 or 70, two different intensity levels, two different fitness kind of needs or varying other needs, skills needs and everything. So kind of if you amalgamate the two and bring them both together, it's probably good that both of them can tie in and complement each other in certain areas. Yeah.
Very good. I suppose Sligo Rovers wouldn't be where it is without the supporters, and like you have quite a large supporter base, which is fantastic. And the one thing I looked up recently, and I was like the Burst Rovers, and I was like, what's Burst and all that? And it's the Bit of Red supporters team. But we say, where did that come from? Like the Bit of Red supporters, the Bit of Red.
So it's the Bit of Red Supporters Trust that they came together a number of years ago now.
I was calling team actually Trust. Yes.
Yeah, no worries. But the lads and the girls, they're really, really are fantastic. I suppose we depend on volunteers. so much. A club like ourselves, like all other clubs, probably might not have the funds or the money to employ the amount of staff we need to cover all bases, but the lads in the Bitterhead Supporters Trust and the Dublin Supporters Club, all our supporters really rally in behind the club no matter what we're doing, whether it's trying to sell draw tickets, whether it's working on match night, and they do coffee now on match night, and voluntarily half of them don't even see the match. Which is crazy really when you think of it. All they want to do is probably go in and watch a game of football, but yet they're there trying to raise money for the club and help the club in different aspects. And the Bitterhead Supporters just have been brilliant over the last while, and they actually have a podcast of their own that should probably come out here for
we'll have to get them out here. Have to get them out to have a go here and see if they can have a go at here.
Take that as an invite for them.
Absolutely. They're more than welcome. I suppose we say from the level of we see the controversy at the moment in regards to football. GAN in essence about the streaming and stuff like that. We say, do you kind of find with the all the league matches, for example, that they're all kind of that they're on. I think they're all played on TV now. I don't think there's any streamed. Is there? Or they're all kind of
every game is streamed or on TV. One or the other. So we're playing down in Cork tonight. That's live on LOI TV, which has been the streaming platform. It used to be called Watch LOI, but now it's LOI TV. So that's just a subscription-based service, and it's really, really good because obviously in the past you were relying on maybe updates on social media, and Ocean FM are also brilliant. They do commentary of most, if not all, games, which has been great. But I suppose if supporters can't go to a game, it's a long way to Cork this evening, but I'm sure there'll be hundreds of people watching back home on LOI TV. So we haven't had any issues. I've heard in kind of the media and stuff, there's been some streaming issues in the GEA, and I'm sure they'll iron those out. It's all a learning curve, I suppose. But in terms
the main thing is that you get to see the match.
I think that is more important. It's been a massive benefit, and I think it's nearly a surprise now if there's something not streamed. Even locals, football or Gaelic or anything, it's usually online somewhere. So no, it's great to see, and hopefully it continues.
I suppose we'd have to kind of ask you what would have been your favourite game so far. We'll say that you would have seen with Sligo Rovers.
There's been a few good ones and a few really bad ones. So
we'll stick to the good
find one. I suppose back in 2013, it was the Aviva Stadium, the FAI Cup final against Drogheda. We won 3-2, but it was a real crazy game. We were one down for quite a while in it. Probably one down after maybe 10-15 minutes. Stayed 1-0 till maybe 15 minutes to go. We went 2-1 up, looked like we'd be winning it. Then they equalised in the 93rd or 4th minute. But thankfully for us, we went down the other end and scored the winner. And just the scenes and to be involved with that on pitch side, I was the kit manager at the time. Went mad running on and everything with the rest of the lads. It was probably the biggest one for me.
Very good. And I suppose I laughed. This could be a bit controversial, but it says who's the most famous player you've had in Sligo Rovers?
I probably should say Raf Gratero right here.
I was about to say
I might stick to that one, but no, we've had quite a few. I suppose Seamus Coleman has been one of the more recent ones who's gone on to the Premier League and captain his country, still is at the minute. Joseph Doe has been a really famous name for us the last while, and he's still living in Sligo after all these years. We've had a lot. Dixie Dean way back, one of the most famous players there are in English football, and he's played for us. But yeah, Rafael Gutierrez, I suppose we're out in Tubbercurry here that day back in 2012 when he scored 2 goals to win the league for us. Was something I'm sure as a kid growing up he probably dreamed of as a Rovers fan, and we'll never forget what he done for the club. Oh,
absolutely. And I think that he's inspired so many kind of that came after him, to kind of get involved in soccer, and it grew kind of the soccer base, especially around Tubbercurry and South Sligo. So I suppose we have to thank him definitely for that.
All those kids again coming through the academy, and I know for a fact Raf would have helped the likes of Saleem Carrigan in his early days, Sean, his brother Aaron, and Raf's only just left Rail Tubber there not so long ago. I know he's playing in Ballina now, but having played against Rail Tubber with Raf in the team, I played for Cartron here locally in Sligo Leitrim. They were a really good footballing team, and you could see the impact he would have had on all those young lads playing for them. They were really, really good while he was with them, and they still are, and I'm sure they'll only continue to grow Rail Tubber as a club.
I think so.
They've been really, really good the last while.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I know, like even my own two daughters, like they, when Raf comes to coach him and stuff like that, like there's all this excitement, so
I don't know. There's just a bit of an aura about Raf. I think over the last, the name as well is really, really, I suppose, cool. It's not something you'd see all the time. It's Cretara's a great name, a
Yeah.
great Italian family, and great history around him. And it's just he's a certain aura about him. He's a great, nice lad as well, very approachable, and the kids seem to love him. And I know he's working out in Castlebar as well. So trying to teach all his old stuff to all those young
Very
kids
good.
coming through. Yeah.
So what's in line? What's next for say for Sligo Rovers over the next few weeks? You've got your match, like you said, you've matched down in Cork, but you're kind of number 4 in the league tables at the moment, or
we're in Cork this evening. Then our women's team are at home to Shelburne tomorrow. I suppose I'm not sure when this podcast goes out, but hopefully we'll have had a couple of wins and stuff over the weekend. We'll have 6 academy games at the weekend, so 8 games in total across the club. And then more league matches to come in the next few weeks. We have Derry City at home next Saturday night. So again, it's kind of early days. This league, the men's team in the league it's really tight at the moment. We're hopefully going to keep trying to get some results on the table and keep going up the table and get into Europe at the end of it.
Very good, very good. Well, listen, look, thanks a million, Colin, for coming out and joining us.
Thanks yourself.
That's it for this week, guys. Thank you to Colin for coming in to chat with us. And as always, you can catch up on previous episodes on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. Just search for South Sligo Talks. Make sure to like and subscribe and to get updates on new episodes. If you have any requests or would like us to discuss anything, send us on an email to southsligotalks@gmail.com. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching.